Lena didn't think school was going to do Emil much good. "He'll turn the schoolhouse upside down and set fire to the teacher," she said. But Emil's mother looked sternly at her. "Emil is a dear little boy," she said. "I know he set fire to the parson's wife the other day, but he's already sat in the tool shed for that, and there's no need for you to carry on about it now." It was August 17th when Emil sat in the tool shed because of the parson's wife. That was the day she came to Catult to get a weaving pattern from Emil's mother, and was invited to have some coffee in the lilac grove while she looked at it. She had weak eyes and took a magnifying glass out of her handbag. Emil had never seen a magnifying glass before, and he was very interested in it. "Well, you can borrow it if you like," said the parson's wife in her innocence. She didn't know that Emil could play tricks with absolutely anything, and a magnifying glass was ideal. It didn't take him long to find out that it could be used as a burning glass. When the sun shone on the glass, the rays were concentrated into a single point, which shone and smouldered, and Emil looked around for something really inflammable. The parson's wife was calmly sitting there, talking away to his mother, and she kept her head erect and still. The ostrich feathers in her elegant hat looked just the thing, and Emil tried them. Not because he thought it would work, but because he thought that you have to experiment if you're ever to find anything out. Well, the result of this experiment is described in the Blue Exercise book. A smell of smoke came from the parson's wife, from her feathers, I mean, but they did not catch fire properly. They only smelled as if they were burning, and there I sat, thinking Emil was going to behave better now that he was a good Templar. Well, Mr. Good Templar sat in the tool shed for the rest of the day. That's what he did. On August 25th, Emil started school. If the people of Lonnenberger had thought he was going to disgrace himself there, they made a big mistake. The schoolmistress was the first person who had a feeling that the future president of the local council was sitting on the bench nearest to the window. For wonder of wonders, Emil was top in the class. He could already read before he went to school, and write a little too. He learnt his numbers more quickly than anyone. Naturally, he got up to lots of mischief as well, but his antics weren't so bad that the mistress couldn't put up with them. Well, of course there was the time he gave her a smacking kiss on the lips, and they talked about that in Lonnenberger for a long time afterwards. This was what had happened. Emil was standing at the blackboard adding up a difficult sum, and when he finished the schoolmistress said, "Good, Emil, you can go and sit down now." And he did so, but on the way he leaned towards the schoolmistress and gave her a big kiss on the mouth. Nothing like that had ever happened to her before, and she blushed and began to stammer. "Why did you do that, Emil?" "I did it out of goodness," said Emil, and it became a saying in Lonnenberger after that. "I did it out of goodness," as the Catult boy said when he kissed the schoolmistress, they used to say in those days, and perhaps they still do for all I know. Afterwards, during the break, one of the big boys came up and started to tease him. "Ha ha! Who kissed the mistress?" he sneered. "Well, I did," said Emil. "Do you want me to do it again?" But he didn't do it again. It was just that once, and never again. The schoolmistress wasn't displeased with Emil because of the kiss, far from it. There were many things which Emil did out of goodness. During the 11 o'clock break, he used to scamper over to the poorhouse and read the Smaland Daily News to Stolle Jokke and the other old people. So, you see, that was one of the things he did out of his goodness. Stolle Jokke and Johan et Oor and Lily Klossen and Kalle Spada and all the other old folk thought that it was the nicest time of the day when Emil came. Perhaps Stolle Jokke didn't always understand very well, because when Emil read that there was going to be a dance at the big hotel in Eskjo on the following Saturday, he clapped his hands devoutly and said, "Amen, amen, God's will be done." But the main thing was that Jokke and all the others liked to sit there and listen to Emil's reading. The only person who didn't like it was the superintendent. She shut herself up in her room in the attic whenever Emil came, because she had once been caught in a wolf pit that Emil had dug, and she had never forgotten it. Perhaps you're beginning to wonder whether Emil would have time to get into any more mischief now he was going to school, but you needn't worry. You see, when Emil was little, there was only school every other day. The lucky children. "What are you going to do with yourself these days?" asked Stoliaca one day when Emil came to read the paper. And Emil thought for a moment and answered truthfully, "Well, one day I play tricks and the next day I go to school."